Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
Peachy. How are you?
I'm dandy. I'm tired. And I didn't work today, so that's not my problem. I just got back from my trip.
That's awesome. Tell us about your trip.
Okay. So we got up there and I have to shout out Tammy. Um I walked in and there was like a little easel thing that said welcome, happy anniversary. And there was a thing sitting in front of it, but eyes. And I was like, I don't remember telling them it was my anniversary. And then I got closer and the paper was actually an envelope and it said a gift from Tammy. And it ended up being a gift card to that restaurant that Roy and I like up there. So that was so
That's
Tammy
fabulous.
and I messaged her right away. I'm like, and I cried. I'm not gonna lie, I cried because it was so sweet. Um, so Tammy, thank you so much. We enjoyed the brisket. It was wonderful. We did some paddle boating, we did some antiquing, which Roy won that because I all I got was this little plaque about being in love, and he got Star Trek cards. Um, but it was great. It was wonderful. Uh, we Tammy's brother's place. They have um paddle boats free with your rental. So you just got to sign a waiver. And so we filled that in. And when we got back from eating, we went out on the paddle boat. Well, when we got to the restaurant, like downpour. So I'm like, we're waiting this out because I have flip flops on and there's a lot of water in the parking lot.
Ooh,
And we waited for it to slow down. My feet still got wet. It was horrible. I hate wet feet. I just hate it. Um, and by the time we ordered our food, the rain had stopped, the sun was out. So when we got back to the little resort place, we jumped on a paddle boat and we were like, all right, because we were just going like to a certain point this way and turning around and going to a certain point this way. We did that like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. And then I'm like, we should go in. And we like docked the paddle boat. We got up, put the life jackets back. And as we were walking and I was putting the key into our door, it started pouring. So like the timing couldn't have been better.
that's perfect.
Yeah, it was great. It was just so great. It was a great getaway. I highly, highly, highly recommend that little place to go. It was just cute. And okay, so when we were up there a couple years ago, and the hotel that we stayed like literally just down the street, not even, I don't know, there's like maybe 5 or 6 buildings in between the two. But the one we stayed at a couple years ago just had like that musty smell throughout. And it's got the indoor pool and everything. And we were on the bottom floor. Maybe the upper floors weren't that bad, but this place didn't have a bad smell.
Yay.
So nope, it was really nice. The owners, Tim and Amy, very lovely people. My husband talked to someone, I believe he said he thought her name was Wendy. Very nice, very helpful, just awesome place. I highly recommend it. It's Surfside. I don't remember all I remembered was Surfside.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Surfside Motel in Tawas, Michigan. Awesome place. Highly
Okay.
recommend if you're going up there. Stay there. You need a reservation though. I don't they seem to be pretty busy. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, lovely place. Beautiful. Loved it. Had a great time. Didn't really want to go home,
Nobody
but
ever wants to come home from vacation.
no. But we got home and sorry, I had to turn the fan. But we got home and put everything away and I've got tomorrow off too, so I'm relaxing.
Yay. Bonus.
Yeah, I don't even know if I told you about that because we were sitting at the picnic table and I was like, man, I'm not going to want to go to work the next day. I already know I'm not going to want to go the day after coming back. So I'm like, you know what? For shits and giggles, I am going to put in for that day. So I get on my phone, I go on the little website that we have to go to do all that.
Mhm.
And like once you submit it, they send you an acknowledgement text saying, like, yeah, we got it. That came at, I got the acknowledgement at 2:15. At 2:20, it was approved.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I've never gotten approval that fast. So I'm like, yes, I got an extra day.
Ironically, I put a request in last Friday. I'm hoping I have the answer on Thursday, tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
See, and usually I gotta wait about a week.
see, and we don't get a notification saying that it's been received or anything like that. We just fill it out and hit send and wait for a response. So,
Yep, it was nice though. Oh, and now we're already talking about next year's anniversary trip.
yay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and definitely we want to stay longer than 2 days. So, so yeah, that's the plan.
Okay,
All right.
awesome.
So how about you?
Let's see. Did some working out with my son. Got to teach him how important it is that if you're having a off mental day, it's just as important to keep yourself safe and not work out as overworking yourself.
Absolutely.
So instead, we ended up coming home and going on an adventure. And for our adventure, we took our walking path out in our back, but we made little side stops. And I ended up finding a feather that was like this long. It's up drying out.
What is it?
A feather.
Oh, okay.
And so that was really cool. Um, Got to see a lot of other neat little things like different tracks and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so it was fun. And we discovered that we did a lot of steps and burned a lot of calories doing it because there was a whole lot of overgrowth.
Good. That's awesome.
It was definitely a workout.
Well,
So yeah,
that's good. So he didn't do like the workout on the machines, but he still got the workout. So that's what's
yep,
important.
yep. And when I told him, because I just read it off my watch, what it said when we got back. And I was like, so that was a great workout. And he's like, yeah. And we high-fived. So it was good.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So have you done any Halloween shopping?
No, I've been very good. I have school shopping that I need to do first.
And it does have the lights. And I got the ornaments sitting there. I haven't put them on yet, but I got that. Roy said, you can stop now.
He does know that this goes until like December, right?
He finally, because how we had March Mess, he took my Halloween decorations down just prior to that. It's all right.
In fairness, my Jack Skellington Santa hat has been hanging on my wall since Christmas.
Fair.
And I have several Nightmare Before Christmas ornaments hanging up throughout my room,
Mm.
and they stay up year round.
So I know you know that I have never seen it.
Yeah.
Um, the Temple Theater
Mhm.
is having a showing in October, and I plan on going.
You better.
I plan on going. And I do want to take the littles. So
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so that's the plan. I guess we just gotta wait and see about this whole strike thing first.
Jack will love it.
Yeah. Oh, well, they've all seen it. They've
Yeah,
all seen it. But I
but
think he
it's
would.
the whole fact of going to see it there
Yeah,
that, yeah,
yeah,
I'm giddy for you guys.
yeah. So, because I was like, okay, this will be my chance. I can go see it. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna go see it. I can't remember what the ticket price is. I think it's maybe $5 per person, something like that. I don't know. Maybe 10. I don't know.
Either way, that's really good.
Yeah. So I do plan on going, and
I
I'll f-
better get details.
yeah.
Just
Uh,
saying.
yeah, I'll finally see it.
So yeah, other than that, it's been a whole lot of Fortnite. But like I said, we did get out, we did do stuff. We did go play outside yesterday. I made him touch some grass. So, and it was kind of funny because I was out there running around without my shoes on, and yeah,
Getting some grounding in.
yeah.
Um, I have not had a cigarette since before we left for the trip.
Ma'am, that's fabulous.
Thanks. I was excited when I realized I did have one Monday morning when I got up, and then I didn't have one the rest of the day. And that's usually what I've been doing is like one cigarette a day. And then I didn't have one at all on Tuesday and nothing today. Thank
Congratulations.
you. I'm proud of myself, and I just hope this time it sticks.
I'm proud of you too.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy.
It's
So,
not. But honestly, and I don't know, I've heard they're better. The cardiologist I went to said I'd prefer my patients vapping. That's what he called it. I think I told you that. But
yep.
like these have been just, and
And
great.
I just want to point out my mom's cardiologist said the same thing. And he even went further and explained that he would rather a person receive smaller amounts of chemicals, or rather the lesser number, versus the amount of chemicals that are in cigarettes.
Yeah. And Rachel came up with this really awesome thing. She got these like they're like rubber rings, and they fit really great on a lanyard, and it's like I'm an infant with my binky.
I've seen those.
Um so yeah, and I even have like because I like to have more than one flavor at one time so I can switch them out. So I got this one on this lanyard.
That's
Yeah, so it
funny.
works. And speaking of infants, um our family got a huge shock today. My nephew posted something with a girl's name on it, and I'm like, okay. Well, then a little while later, I get a message from him with like 4 pictures of a newborn baby. He was like, Aunt Jill, meet your niece Skyla. So I have a new great niece that was born today.
Congrats.
Thanks. That'll be exciting. Another new little person.
Yeah. Babies are always fun.
Yeah.
That's why I had 7.
And she's absolutely beautiful. No, I stopped it too.
I always joke I couldn't figure out what kept causing it.
Yeah, I stopped at 2. I made gorgeous babies, very bad breathers, and I didn't want to do that again. So,
I had beautiful babies.
yes, she's just gorgeous. Beautiful name. I'm just was so excited for him. No, even Judy had messaged me. She's like, did you know that DJ and Sam were having a baby? And I'm like, nope, not a clue. I'm friends with both of them on Facebook, and neither had said anything about an impending baby. So,
Well, I found out I was going to be a grandma via a Facebook post gender reveal.
is that a second baby?
No, that was my first grandbaby.
Oh, okay. I thought you found out the day after your other son's wedding.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Oh wait, yeah. Um, sorry. It was my other one that did the post.
so there's
Yeah,
two?
it was the second grandbaby. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
I didn't.
actually there's a
I-
son, or sorry, there's a grandson and a granddaughter.
Okay.
Um, the son has the grandson, the other has the other. Yeah, that one did a post.
Okay. See, I didn't know about the second one. Is that
I
a recent
haven't
thing?
seen either one.
Is that
No.
no?
Mm-mm.
I not, you never told me that.
That's
Ah,
that one I don't mention.
okay.
That would be why.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, shall we get into the story of it?
Yes.
Um, and I will preface by saying this is going to be a part 2 of 3. I'm sorry, it is going to go into a third part.
Hold, hold up.
But
Do we got any more sciencey crap?
yes, no, not as sciencey as before.
Okay, good, 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 good,
This one kind of gears more towards the different agencies,
good. Okay,
we'll say.
okay.
So yeah, yeah, I'll just. So there was a man named Rocky Eugenio who says all of the victims are college-age men from fraternities, and fraternities are set up in a hierarchy with several chapters ran by a head chapter. And that way, orders or quotas can be issued to be carried out on specific dates and times, nationally and internationally. Each chapter has a quota, he says, but don't take my word for it, which we all know that's pretty much how they are. But keep in mind that 40% of all MK Ultra research, or PSYOP programs were delegated to college fraternities, and they're still active programs. I don't know if the MK Ultra program is still active or not, but yeah, I think we've all heard of it and heard some of the lovely tales behind it. So yeah, 40% of studies are done that way. So just
Oh,
under half.
what's the name of the book again?
Dead in the Water, Forever Awake by Stephen Young.
Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of the book.
All good. That I made sure to keep it handy. Um, so yeah, a whole lot of this research is still done that way today. Don't even know what programs are active or any of that. So then it goes on to talk about a case that happened February 6th, of 16. The body of a 23-year-old man named James Dreyer. Sorry, words are jumbling.
Yeah.
He hadn't been discovered for 51 days. He'd been out celebrating New Year's Eve near Dimrillo's Marina in Portland, Oregon. The water in which he was found was not next to the street in which he was last seen.
Hmm.
The body reportedly, or sorry, most bodies that go into the water will resurface within 6 to 10 days. The Coast Guard had been out continuously looking for him. And there's also search parties, going on all over the place. He is nowhere to be found. At the time of writing this, the autopsy was still pending. A police spokesman named Chris Hardiman expressed his perplexity after security cameras generated no clues. It shows that he's with a friend or a group of friends, and then poof, he's not. There is no video evidence of him leaving, either from inside or outside. No other cameras caught him going anywhere. He was just gone.
Hmm.
Scary, right?
Yeah.
To think of how many cameras are, out in the world and none of them caught him. So yeah, he's there and then he's not. They hadn't heard anything from him. There have been a great many people who looked into that death as well as others who are in relation to it. There's obviously a cornucopia of cases. I mean, even with a search that I did asking for drowning deaths in Wisconsin, I pulled up 3, just, and that was instant on the first page. And there was an additional 4, I think, but these ones you could look at their obituaries and be like, that's a target. In fact, there was one of the people who actually spoke, I don't remember if it was 7 or 5 languages. And I was like, holy cow, that's someone who would be a very rare commodity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that automatically made me put him on the list because these people are
Educated.
sportsmanlike, educated,
Yep.
and so yeah, it's like, okay, this kid's going somewhere.
Well, shit, I'd be safe because I'm female and I barely know English.
There is one female victim that I have found.
I'm still
I haven't
safe.
I haven't gotten to it yet though. But yeah, for the most part, women are safe. We're good. We can go be as smart as we want to be. It ain't gonna matter. I don't know. Weird. So anyway, whole bunch of them, whole lot of unanswered questions. And it's not like it's one unanswered question in each case. It's you got 4 or 5 unanswered questions, major questions
Right.
in every case. Um so yeah, no answers anywhere. So the retired NYPD detectives Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte discovered over 40 drowning deaths that were connected. Okay, this is just what they pieced together. So this Gannon and a professor, Lee Gilbertson of St. Cloud University, that's here in Wisconsin, a specialist in gang stalking and domestic terrorism. They took several classes and investigated all these cases. They put them all together and been like, okay, we're going to piece it all. What they found differed hugely from the initial investigations in like every single case. Do 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 do. They then presented these cases in a book. It's actually called Case Studies in Drowning Forensics. And it is available on Kindle, Amazon, paperback, and hardcover. But caution, it's fucking expensive. This bitch is $75 to $200.
Holy, there was, the Shepherd case, the book that was written by Dr. Shepherd
Oh,
I looked for it and I was like, no.
yeah. See, in this book, it pieced together the 40 cases. So
Okay.
that would be an interesting book to read, a long, hard read, but an interesting one to read. If it were put together better than the way this one is, I'm for it. Because
Yeah.
damn, this one's hard to follow. You have no idea. There's a reason my notes are chaotic for this story.
Yeah.
Um, so what they discovered presented the most chilling of circumstances. So back 10 to 20 years, investigators thought that they could, different investigators thought that they could tie 100 cases together.
Oh shit.
So yeah, this is two groups of people. Okay, so you have Gannon and his professor, they got 40. You got this other group over here, they got 100. Okay.
Do they include some of the 40?
I'm not 100% on that. It didn't specify. My guess would be yes, because that's how they ended up being introduced, is through a certain case.
Okay. Okay. So at least
Um,
some of them.
yeah, at least a few. Um, However, another organization called Find Me, we're also looking into some of the same phenomena, as we'll say. And this organization was run by a DEA agent named Kelly Sider, who said that that's barely scratching the surface, with the figure they quoted as over 300. Yeah. Though they managed to completely disprove official findings and very thoroughly, but more importantly, expertly, mind you, because, this is former, investigators, policemen, these are former DEA, this is coroners, a whole slew of them have come across these cases and been like, wait a minute, this isn't right. There's something going on.
Right.
And they're trying to find answers, but the people, other people involved aren't. So yeah, it's like a dime a dozen for how many actually see it for, the ones that don't, kind of a thing. Um, so they have, their expert, proof. They proved that there was nothing accidental or natural at all in the multiple deaths, saying instead that the young men had clearly been through terrifying ordeals, sometimes lasting weeks before they were killed and taken to the river. Both Senator Sensbrunner of Wisconsin and U.S. Congressman McNulty of New York submitted requests to the FBI, calling on them to help to stop with the mounting number of victims. It is believed to be happening overseas as well, in Canada, England, and Ireland. The author, Stephen Young, hadn't been intending to actually research this topic. He actually came across it while he was investigating research for a book prior to like this whole series. And it's called In the Wood. But the case popped up repeatedly while searching for all these similar deaths. But guess what he was searching, or like trying to research? Time travel.
Okay.
And then we have the young man who changed his name from a game where they were doing research about time travel. Do you not remember that?
Maybe you got to remember last episode. Like I slowly, not slowly,
Yeah.
I quickly dwindled down to damn near sleeping.
Okay. Neo Babson. Where is it? One
I do
second.
remember a name change, but I don't remember who to what.
Yeah, his name was Neo. He was great at this game called Half-Life, which comes up in the periodic table and stuff like that.
Mhm.
With tritium. We're not gonna get into the whole sciencey aspect, I
Okay,
promise.
that's probably what got me sleepy. No offense to you, I just hate science.
I know, I'm sorry. I love science. I can't help it. So there was this guy, Charles Allen, who was found in October of 2007. He changed his name to Neo Babson Maximus.
Mm.
And this was a character in a game called Half-Life. There's
Okay,
another,
I do remember you
okay.
saying that, but like I said, I was very sleepy, and I do apologize for that.
Yeah, there's another one though, H3, which goes to the periodic table, which is a Half-Life um
Hmm.
thing. Yeah. Um, so anyway, it ties. I'm trying to do it without going too sciencey. I'm sorry. Very
I'm not
hard.
gonna lie, I remember some of it, but certain like details are jumbled because, and it's not just the science. I had a very long day that day, and
I talked
yeah,
for a long time.
yeah, and I just got tired, and then after a while, science just crosses my eyes, and so it wasn't you. It was, I had worked all day, and sciencey information just made me really sleepy. Sorry.
And at this point, I'm going to make a note that I actually found physics ASMR videos on YouTube,
I'm
and
out.
I'm in fucking love. I was so damn excited. And then I found another one, just the look on your face, about, never mind.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. Now I'm curious. Please tell me.
About different atoms and proteins and the nucleus, and yeah, it went down to microscopic level, going down to subatomic, and yeah,
Did you mean protons?
yeah. I know,
You,
I missed that one.
well,
I
you
said
said
neutrons,
proteins.
electrons. Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oops.
So I think you were, I don't know. I was like, because I know that
My,
science word.
my thoughts got jumbled. I got very excited.
Yeah. I know that science word.
Okay. How about we go back to police words?
Okay.
Okay. So between the two states, they're calling on the FBI. They're like, look, we need fucking help. We can't do this. Things aren't working out. Kids keep people, dying. So he was working on, a book about time travel. Um, so now most would say that it being unrelated. However, Stephen discovered that there seemed to be particular areas where possible vortexes or dimensional doorways occur naturally. And in those places, people are dying.
Is that supposed to be anything like ley lines?
That and portals. So yeah, I mean, so some are saying that there are possible vortexes or dimensional doorways that are naturally occurring within some forest areas. And within these areas, he came across the stories of people missing. In England, a series of disappearances happened, causing investigators to come up with theories because, that's all they got because there ain't no answers.
Right.
One of which may have hit the nail on the head. They believed that the woods were being used by a satanic cult that they believed was called Hecate, after the goddess of magic and witchcraft. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. No. I seriously did that when I read that. And my supervisor turned and looked at me like, what? I was like, they did it. They did it. Yeah. Um, so Walker said that when he was investigating the strange area, he pleaded with the locals for information. And he met with a man who had contacted him in the woods, who was making sure to stay shrouded in the trees, of course. Um, and the stranger delivers a dire warning. He threatened serious repercussions should Walker continue the investigation, claiming that he had support of some very powerful connections who would, quote, would tolerate no interference in their ritualistic slaughtering. So Walker mysteriously says the human disappearances, of which there were several, ended up as open verdicts. And I took open verdicts to be like cold
Open
cases.
cases.
Yeah.
Okay.
But echoes of similarity are found in the number of mysterious disappearances in forests, woods, and national parks across America and Canada. In a particular case of Todd Gibb, I'm not sure, Geib.
Deep.
Sure, I don't know. He lives by you. You get this one. So his case was ruled as a drowning. However, an independent consultant, a Dr. Sikurica, we're just going with that, concluded that Todd had only been dead between 2 and 5 days. Unfortunately, he had been missing for 4 weeks.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. He, when she had done the autopsy, she also discovered that he had no water in his lungs. And that he also hadn't been in the water an extensive period of time. The doctor says that these drownings are mysterious and that they defy logic. And there's this thing I gotta read. Probably this pink tab right here would be my guess. Okay. So there was a student named Brandon Swanson of Marshall, Wisconsin. He disappeared in a field in May 2008 after his cell phone got cut off to his father, who was out looking for him. It didn't sound like he had fallen over or tripped. It sounded like he was shocked by something, horrified even. Brandon has never been found. Tracker dogs went to the canal where he had last been known to have been. out in the rural fields and found farmland, but they trekked away from the water across a field where his scent stopped suddenly. A swear word uttered in what was both surprise and shock was the last thing his father heard, ending a 50-minute telephone call as his father kept him on the telephone, trying to find him. His son had called him late that evening to say that he'd run his car into a dried mud bank and couldn't get out. It was stuck, and he'd asked his parents to come get it. It was May, and Brandon had apparently been driving home back to Marshall, Minnesota, a rural and mainly agricultural area, with a lot of canals and wind projects. That to me says wind turbines.
Okay.
In fact, he had actually just completed technological courses in wind turbines. So he's a smart cookie.
Yeah.
After waiting for a while for his parents to turn up, he became impatient. When they told him on the phone that they were having trouble locating him, he told them he was going to walk toward the nearest town, whose lights he said were in the distance, and said that he expected them to meet him en route. However, it would seem that perhaps Brandon was slightly off in his description from where he thought he was, because no matter how hard his parents looked, they couldn't find him or his car. He continued walking toward the lights in the distance as his parents searched for him. Now, well after midnight, they stayed in contact throughout, with his father keeping him talking on the phone. And Brandon was certain he knew where he was and couldn't understand why his parents couldn't find him. And he was becoming increasingly irritated. Yet his parents had gone to exactly where he said he was, and he was definitely not there. So they continued to drive around, unable to see him or the car. And then came the swear word. Sounded suddenly surprised and shocked, and then the phone cuts off. It didn't sound like he had fallen or tripped, but shocked. But what? Whatever it was, he did not answer his phone again. Despite the father constantly calling back, his parents are now concerned, and he wasn't answering his phone for some reason, and they had no idea what had just happened to him. Where was he? Desperately, they continued to drive around to find him, but failed to spot any signs. They finally go to the police and end up putting out a search party. It wasn't until the following day that police were able to locate his missing car by tracing signals received at the cell phone towers. The car was in fact nearly 20 miles from the town the boy thought he had been heading to on foot.
What's his name again? Because this sounds so familiar. Because I think I've heard a podcast on just his case alone. Brandon.
Swanson.
I'm pretty sure this is it. Yes. Yeah, I have heard that case before, and that one, that's to me almost like that. What's her name? Myra Murray or
I don't know.
yeah, Maura Murray. That one's just as crazy as his. Like they're
Okay.
both incredibly crazy cases.
Yeah. So they find it, 20 miles away. He told his parents that he was close to the town when he called them to come get him. How is 20 miles close? How could he be that off?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
I mean, he wasn't
it's his,
stupid, so
and it's his area. Like he knows where he's going. He just graduated. He's probably made this route 100 times, probably even drunk. Okay, maybe not, but
Right, I know what you meant.
and that was why they couldn't find him that night. He'd been nearly 20 miles away from where they thought he was. He'd thought that the lights he could see on the horizon were the town, but he was wrong. He was many miles from the town, and so while his parents had gone to that location and wandering around, um, the investigators started to believe was that he had accidentally walked into and then fallen into the river as he walked, or sorry, as he talked to his father, saying he was so distracted talking to his dad that he accidentally fell in. Now, I've never been so distracted while talking on the phone that I've almost fallen in something. However, I have seen idiots playing Pokemon Go walk right off piers. If he was playing Pokemon Go, we might have a different story. But just talking on the phone, I don't believe it.
I don't think Pokemon Go was a thing in 2008.
I don't think so either. So that could explain the shock, they thought. His father wasn't convinced. Neither am I. He said he may have had a drink, and according to the friends he'd been with that evening, he had been drinking, but definitely not enough for him to have been drunk. And his father said that he didn't sound drunk throughout the entire phone conversation, that lasted nearly an hour. I would think if someone had talked to them for nearly an hour, they know their state of mind.
Exactly.
So
Sometimes you
yeah,
can tell. Well, obviously, looking at him wasn't an option, but I mean, yeah, you could definitely tell after 5 minutes if someone is intoxicated.
exactly. And not only that, but even if you think someone might be slightly intoxicated at the beginning of the conversation, you can tell whether or not they've sobered up by the end.
Right. And okay,
So
no, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the case where they wanted to search like a farmer's land and the farmer flat out refused?
mm-mm. Let me finish the story and you'll find out. But no. So despite the exhaustive search, they did water, land, he can't be found. They said the river was flowing fast at the time and that he could have been swept away, but it was searched in those areas as well, and he still couldn't be found. This included aerial searches, horseback, ATV, and people out on foot. So, and then, you have water patrol as well. So there's people everywhere. You can
Right,
say they
right.
used a fine tooth comb. Repeatedly over the grounds. After the official searches ended, his family, along with volunteers, though, didn't give up. They continued to look for him for weeks, and the only clue came from a canine search dog that seemed to indicate that his scent had traveled in one particular direction, and that it did not lead to finding his body as the scent stopped. However, perhaps that was a clue that he couldn't have gone in the water after all. What did hamper the search efforts, particularly the ability to track the scent, though, is that the area is geographically nature is a crisscrossing winds that break up the flow. So not only is this area potentially one of the geographic anomalies, but apparently you also have a wind shift in this area as well, where the winds literally cross each other. No, no, that's not following.
I'm listening.
Okay.
That's why I said,
I find that very interesting. Um, so it's possible that he succumbed to hypothermia, especially if he'd walked through wet grass and then been out in the cold for hours. But it was May, not winter. And even so, they still should have been able to find his body.
right.
Um, so The call ended so abruptly in shock, indicating that he had somehow become the victim of foul play. Someone arrived at the scene and, abducted him or something. His heartbroken mother talked to news channels after the incident, saying he wasn't injured. He said he was okay. There was no damage to his car, and he felt confident about where he was, and he was saying that we were lost. The minute the call dropped, I became sick. I knew. I knew it was wrong, and I knew it was bad. And he is still missing. There's a 27-year-old from Texas. It just goes through a slew of different stories, that are all right in the same line with that. So there have been multiple cases where a second set of investigators have looked into either autopsy or the actual police investigation records or what have you. And in some cases, they've gotten a hold of all of the information and looked at all of it. Well, they found a lot of men who supposedly drowned but didn't have water in their lungs. Also, many would make phone calls either to family, friends, or even police. The men are lost, need help, suddenly become terrified, and then the call is lost. And then no one's able to reconnect with them. And then they ping cell phones, and their bodies are found X amount of time later, not at any of the pinged locations. And to me, that's just weird.
Yeah.
Because most people, we're glued to our phones. I understand there's the exceptions to the rule, but if you're lost somewhere, you're keeping your phone in your damn hand. I don't care who you are.
Well, and you got to remember too, 2008, technology was a little different. I want to say back then, like if you wanted like some type of GPS on your phone, you would have to pay extra for that. And then of course
But
there
this
weren't.
this is a techie guy. He's got it. I can almost guarantee it.
I
Because this
mean,
is someone who's got to go out to remote fields to do surveying and things like that for wind turbines. It's a safe bet he's got GPS.
I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, if he had GPS, he wouldn't have thought he was close to the town being 20 miles away.
But at the same time, if there's some outside source messing with him and his electronics that nobody knows about at that time, you know what I mean? It would make sense that he's like, no, I'm here. I know I'm here. You are lost, not me. You're in the wrong spot. Because he was dead set. He was certain.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily make him right, though.
True.
I mean, I've been dead set certain on many things and have to apologize because I'm just a fucking idiot. I was wrong.
Oh, fun. So anyway, whole lot of cases just like his where it just like, no, you done fucked up, you know? Um, I forgot where I was. Not any locations. Okay. And they're often in an area that's heavily searched. Like I said, in this other case, there's 5 different, search methods done. And that if they were, that's if they were found, because I came across several that were still missing, all while local police didn't investigate and just call it a drowning. Accidental drowning. Died due to exposure. Tell Roy to stop scrounging in the fridge.
Did you hear him clearing his throat?
No.
Oh,
So another interesting thing is that through the autopsies and pathology, um, it's almost like no one is actually bothering to read these as they come in, because a panel of over 200 pathologists looked into several of the cases, and this like panel is a real thing. Like they do this apparently. They found that it was the exact opposite of what's originally determined, with the new results being backed by evidence that's available to them. So they have this same evidence that, these other investigators have, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is showing foul play. This is wrong. This is wrong. You know, what the hell? Investigate. And they're like, no, no, we're good. So when scent dogs are brought in to help locate, in many cases, the dogs will hit that there is an altercation. And I find that absolutely amazing.
oh yeah.
Some were taken away in vehicles, and in one case, it specifically apparently hit that it was a van. Or whether or not they just vanish, like the scent just disappears. But I think it's awesome that a dog can tell that there is a physical altercation in an area. And in
Uh,
most cases, like a day or two later.
yeah. With that one case that I'm obsessed with but refuse to cover, um, there was a lot to do because dogs that went and searched that house hit like in the basement, and I don't know, like it's crazy, but they pick up on like the fear, the trauma, it's very weird. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's insane the training that must take for them dogs.
Right.
It's crazy. But then again, when like I currently don't have pets, but like when I did have a dog and I was sick, my dog would come cuddle me, like to make me feel better. At least that's what I assumed. But he was also just a suck ass too. But
My cats are bitches. They don't lay by us unless they feel like it.
well, I knew that at the my cats. Um,
My bagel is hurt.
oh,
Yeah. She's got a hole in her back leg. I think she was climbing a tree and slid down and skewered herself on a branch or something.
that does not sound like a good time.
Yeah, it's not, but it's closing up, so it's getting a little better. It's been about a week.
Yeah. No, but I guess what I was saying is like dogs know when you don't feel good,
Yep.
and they come to you. So I mean, I guess it makes sense. They can tell if an area had some type of violent disturbance
Hmm.
where I don't, but it's so weird to pick up on days, weeks, months after. That's just
Right.
so weird to me.
And then to be
But
able to like even demonstrate whether or not that it's a car or a van. You know what I mean?
yeah, that I don't know.
My
That
guess would be
I
it probably
it
does it in a way of like showing like the scent mark of the tire here, the tire here. You know what I mean?
maybe I don't
It's
know.
gotta be a really specially trained dog.
I mean, I would have to see like, oh, almost like, okay, you got to show me proof to convince me that a dog can tell the difference between a car, truck, van.
I don't know. That's what it said, that it hit it on, that it was a van that the person was loaded into.
I mean,
So,
maybe. Like I'm sure they run them through every scenario possible.
right. Um, so yeah. So most to all of the victims have no signs, like outward signs of trauma. Though reportedly, in some cases, the men were found with terrified looks on their faces. Many were even exsanguinated. For those of you who don't know, that means that the blood has been taken from your body. Such as in the case where two men go missing from the same area within a short amount of time. So they go missing, die, end up in the water. And obviously the police have to consider the possibility that something is wrong here, right? Nope. Police say drunk, fell in, the end. And they don't realize that, or sorry, I was making a snide comment here in my notes that I didn't realize that they opted for Occam's razor in police investigations. Basically, man in water, boom, he drowned. you know, um, and I thought it was absolutely amazing how there's no more, investigation actually happening, and that's kind of where I comment before how, you know, so many pathologists are supposedly reading these results when they come in, but nothing's happening,
Right.
you know, or that their reports aren't being read by detectives or what have you. um, so many of these men have not been found. Um, hmm. Do you know the Eddie Lemper story?
That name sounds familiar.
Well, Eddie was not a good man, and Eddie was from the next town.
From you?
Uh, yes.
Hmm.
In fact, I know the bar. I've been in the bar. He was a mill rat, which this area, it's really hard not to be a mill rat, to be honest. Between the two towns, I think there's 4 different areas you can work in that's considered a mill. So he would frequent Johnny's, which was a local bar. Sorry, I shouldn't say was, it is. I don't go there anymore. I only ever went there a few times. He didn't drink. Instead, he went there to play pool, which they do have a very nice area set up for playing pool and darts and things like that. Um, this guy kidnapped 2 men, kept them locked in a basement, raped them. It's unknown if he was involved with some or all. However, he did go to prison for multiple counts. I believe it was 9. Um, however, a victim remembers being at the bar, being really drunk. He makes it to his truck and passes out, right? He figures, I made it to my truck. I'm safe. I'm good. Um, but he woke up naked, chained upside down, and had been raped in a dark room.
Hmm.
He was held captive for several days, being brutalized before finally escaping. He goes to the nearest neighbor, calls police. When they finally get to the victim, um, the victim immediately leads them to the home, and they search, and they find another man being kept in the basement as a prisoner. He told police that he had been walking home from a fireworks display when the mill worker had suddenly stopped and offered a ride. However, when they got close to victim two's home, he stopped and said he was a police officer and arrested the man and then knocked him out with a large flashlight.
Mm.
He too found himself chained in the dark. He too was beaten and sexually assaulted. The floor of the basement was covered in plastic sheeting, just like from a scene in a horror movie. The mill worker had tied a thin piece of rope to the chains and the other to a shotgun that was pointed right at him, so that if the man moved, the rope would tighten and pull the trigger. In the case of Jeremy Alford, was supposedly a member of a group called the Death Dealers. Sorry, screwed that up again. The Dealers of Death. Hi.
That sounds not scary at all.
Nah, I don't know. So he claims that they had thrown Chris Jenkins off a bridge and said that they had killed many of the others that had drowned as well. Though security cameras, CCTV, does not corroborate this. It is said, considering how easy it is to tamper with video, that Jeremy Alford was said to be recruiting a vagabond group of misfits. So, they're thinking, okay, well, maybe it was just tampered with, yada, yada, because they're hearing rumors, So this gang would supposed to take to the streets. Not really sure about what, but yeah, they were gonna. But yeah, doesn't really matter. He's in prison for life now for apparently a very bloody murder. I didn't look too far into that because whatever. While the verdict on the existence and the involvement of the gang appears to be very open, his sister, Jeremy Alfred's sister, has said years ago when this stuff first came up, I believed he might have had something to do with it. But as far as belonging to a gang, hell no. He's just full of big talk, she says. So sisters are great, right? On the other hand, an anonymous poster contradicts her, stating, I've been investigating these so-called dealers for a few years now, and it seemed that their members are very secretive and range from petty thugs to firefighters, police, CIA. It seems they never truly reveal their identities to each other. Instead, they use nicknames. They hold very secretive meetings, mostly in the heartland. It seems to follow some of the secret traditions of other Masonic orders. He followed this investigation to the top and highest level members of the government, seeming to acknowledge their existence somewhat, but not on record. Saying if he were to estimate, he'd say that at least 2,000 members, and it's nationwide. So, who's right? The sister or Mr. Anonymous? Yeah, sorry. I don't say anonymous. I say anonymous. One of my lovely things. So a Milwaukee magazine has said back then, after 3 months of research into these cases, a gang called the Dealers of Death claimed involvement. Alford told the FBI the gang had murdered at least 40 of the men. Another admitted gang member called himself Smiley. According to the newspaper, some of the gang members were apparently arrested for harboring runaways and had branded one of them with a 5-point star.
Oh, I,
Why it gotta be that way?
all I can think of is how horrible that was.
Right. Alfred claimed that they were part of a larger group, a political subdivision of another gang. So this is now coming up in multiple cases where there is potentially a larger group of people at work to get rid of these highly intelligent young men for unknown reasons.
Hmm.
And that is the story I have for today.
Awesome.
So
Much
yeah,
less sciency.
I do have a couple of things to note that I forgot to mention last time. Not sciency, I promise. So at some point in one of the investigations, I forget which one, it talks about how the police go to talk to a Liberian about one of the victims. And I'm like, a Liberian? Is that like a librarian? What the fuck is a Liberian? So wormhole within the wormhole. A Liberian is a person or a group of people from Liberia. It is actually the only all-black state in Africa that was never subjected to colonial rule and is Africa's oldest republic. It was established on land that was acquired for freed U.S. slaves by the American Colonization Society, founded a colony in Cape Meserado in 1821. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was interesting. So basically they said, oh, sorry that we kidnapped a bunch of your people and stole a bunch of your land. Here's some of it back and you can live there. But we're we're gonna keep whatever else.
Lovely.
You can be over here, but we're gonna go do our thing everywhere else, basically. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I got for today.
Now, you have one more part.
Yep. And I
So,
promise it'll be the end.
no, you're fine. But my thought was, what? I just want to see what anyone listening would they like me to, on my next one, do a haunting? And if so, where?
Pick a state.
Pick a state, pick a building,
Mhm.
just give us something. Just bring it
Interact
up.
with us, please.
Yes.
Let us
I
know if you think we're funny because we think we're hilarious. So
I feel I should have my own comedy special.
oh, I got
Um,
told this week I'm the highlight of a guy's life. He works third shift. I only see him maybe 5 minutes in an entire shift, like twice a week. But yeah, he informed me I'm the highlight of his evening because I make him laugh. Like, all right, that's awesome.
I I don't remember if I told this story or if it happened after we recorded. Did I tell you a hiccup story
I believe so.
about Roy having the hiccups?
No, I've
I
had a lot of
almost
hiccups lately.
I almost don't know if I should tell it because
Oh, it's that good? Then yes, definitely.
Okay, so I came home from work one night last week. I'm gonna have to say it had to be after we recorded last Wednesday. So I'm gonna say it was Thursday. Had to be Thursday because I talked about it on Friday. So I'm gonna go with that. So I have heard things like I can remember hearing years ago someone say like if you almost like a mind like reverse psychology type thing, like the next time you hiccup or the next time you or if you don't hiccup, I'm gonna do this. Like if you hiccup again, I'll give you $20. So me being me, I said, if you hiccup again, I'll show you my titties.
And he hiccuped, didn't he?
I told you that I wasn't sure. Well, no, he didn't. He like stopped. And I went and did some shit. Like 20 minutes later, we were talking about it. He was like, that cured my hiccups. I'm like, well, they're basically doctors. So what do you expect? I I know Rachel listens, and I know Rachel's heard the story, and it was like I was dying to tell people last week. And I may or may not have told my team leader that let me know if he gets the hiccups because I know the cure.
For a minute, I was worried that you accidentally sent that in email to your supervisor instead of your husband.
No,
I'm glad it wasn't that.
I am
So,
I am very now the nickname I have at work for my team leader is Baby Daddy. I don't know why. I just do. Um, so that is how he is in my phone now. So it's a very different from Baby Dad. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not Baby Daddy and Splendid Daddy because that's how Roy is listed in my phone.
at
I don't know.
least they start with very opposite letters. So,
Yeah.
to be fair, I do have a couple future ex-husbands at work, which we all know ain't never gonna happen. So,
Right.
and
Um,
they know it too. It's just a joke thing.
yeah, and see, I love Baby Daddy because he appreciates my sense of humor.
He
And
does.
because trying to there
It,
was
it's probably a good thing that he does because I think if he didn't, you would have been fired.
I got the union, so
There
um
you go.
no active because okay, um back in late 2018, because I was an AR at the time, and I had to go because our department was upstairs. Well, they built a whole new shop for our department. So we had to go downstairs before we actually transferred all the jobs downstairs to train on these things. So yeah, it was a lot of training. Um, and it was kind of sucked because when we went downstairs, people kind of scattered instead of everyone that was in our area. Now we had some in this area, some over here, some over there. Well, I was no longer in Rashad's area. Rashad moved. Oh, I don't know if I should have. Baby Daddy moved to a different area. And like I would see him in passing or if he came to do a repair or anything like that. But otherwise, I didn't really see him because we were in different areas. So when I got fed up with being an AR and I put in for a job and I looked at the job to see, like what it entailed, because you definitely always want to look at the job before you take it.
Yes.
And I went and asked the one other girl, I'm like, is this your team? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so baby daddy will be my team leader? She's like, yes. I'm like, I'm taking the job. Like literally, I mean, the job was all right. It wasn't bad. But he is literally the reason I took that job. So he would be my team leader.
Nice. And
Because
then he moved on you, didn't he?
no,
Oh, I thought he did.
nope, he's still there. He's not allowed to move. He has threatened to move.
Ah,
But no.
does he know that comes on pain of death?
Well, I told him, here's what keeps him. I think maybe
I know it keeps him.
if you transfer departments, Jilly Bean's not delivering you cakes.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. If you go to body shop or paint, you're nowhere near me. So you will no longer get cake. I have actually, he's talked about like not coming in like on a certain Monday. And I knew who coverage would be. And I'm like, look, if you're just not coming in because you don't want to be here, if you come in on Monday, I will bring you cake. I have bribed that man with cake and I'm not above it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The one thing that kind of hurt last year was the egg prices. That really suffered on my cake making. And then of course, you know, like once it becomes summer, it's too hot to bake.
We have a mascot for the employees at the casino.
Mm.
It's Leroy's mom. You think you're short? This woman is tiny. Tiny. Okay. And she's literally tiny. Um, she makes the best damn cheesecake you ever did have.
I like cheesecake.
I mean, like I don't this cheesecake is like we fight over this cheesecake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that bad. And it's so funny because when he brings one in, he actually has to go tell specific people, it's here, go get one now.
Before it's gone. Yep.
Yep. And it's so funny because I told him this last time because mom just made us a cake not too long ago. Um, and I joked, I was like, dude, I think mom's gonna have to start baking 2 cakes.
Yeah. See, there's not many people at work that know when baby daddy's birthday is. I
Mm-hmm.
happen to be one of the few. I don't know if it's because of cakes, but our birthday is a couple days apart.
Ah, okay.
So like I think that's how we both remember. So I always ask him, what kind of cake do you want? And he'll tell me what kind of cake he wants. And I will bring in his cake and he'll say, now is this for everybody? I'm like, it's your birthday cake. You do with it what you want. And he usually does not share it.
That's funny. Yeah, mom made a cheesecake for me for my birthday this year. That I had a lot of cheesecake. I did share my cheesecake. But yeah, I took a few big pieces to fit in a container, so it lasted me a few days. So that was nice. And in fact, this last time she made one, I told my supervisor, I was like, you know what? We need to take up a collection for cheesecake. You know, just go around to all the people who usually take a slice and be like, hey, can you pitch in a little bit to the cheesecake fund?
You never know. That might get you more cheesecake more often.
Exactly. And not only, but like cream cheese and
Oh, it adds
all that.
up.
Yeah, it's really expensive right now too, so I
Yeah.
get it.
Isn't everything right now like,
Yeah.
okay, we stopped at a party store and I stopped there because I didn't know if I would need a vape while I was up there, like if this one would run out or explode on me like the last one did. So I'm like, you know what? I better stop while I'm up here. So of course I don't know the area, so I got to Google vape shops.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to this store because the vape shop, they were connected.
Okay.
And I also didn't have anything to drink. So I stopped and got my Dr. Pepper before I went into this vape shop. Now the 3 liters were marked. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna get one of those and take it home. That is out fucking outrageous. It was almost $4. Yeah. So I put my 20 ounce on the counter, and he rings it up. $2.59 for a 20 ouncer. What? That's insane.
It is.
$2.59 for a 20 ounce. That's unreal.
I get a liter of water for 79 cents.
Yeah. I just got a bunch of water.
Not gonna lie, it didn't help much with my weight.
Um,
'Cause it's been a year and a half now that I stopped drinking soda.
Usually if I stop drinking pop, I'm pretty good. Like I'll lose a little extra. But yeah. Not getting into too much detail, but I was very unhappy with mirror images this week, and
Yeah.
had a little breakdown and went and bought some foods and told Roy no more buying me, no more Dr. Pepper. But I will say this vape is called Mr. Pepper, and it does taste like Dr. Pepper. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, because I even asked the lady, like, what flavor? You all right?
That was weird. Um, so as you were talking, like I wasn't really looking over in that direction, but like as I looked up on top of my mini fridge, and I'll do a quick little pan over there on top of my mini fridge, the blue box. It was like a black gargoyle, like perched on top of my fridge.
Huh.
It was weird. That's why I was like, what the fuck did I just see? That one's new. Oh, okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to
No, you're good.
interrupt.
Because I asked the lady, like, what? Because I saw it and I'm like, what is Mr. Pepper? Because, like, my thought is it going to be Dr. Pepper like, or is it going to be black pepper? Which, in one of those cases, I don't want it.
Same.
And she said, it's supposed to be like Dr. Pepper. I don't really, she said she didn't care for it. She said, but other people really love it. And the same brand, which is Novo Bar, they have a root beer and a cherry cola. She's like, those are spot on. So she said, so I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. And it's not bad.
Yeah. I'm not adventurous when it comes to my vapes.
Well, they're kind of pricey to be adventurous.
I know. And heaven forbid you buy one and you don't like it, because in my world that means I don't have a vape for the week.
Or you suffer.
Yep.
Um, this one isn't bad. It's 6,000 puffs. Rechargeable.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the beginning, I really, really liked those ones that look like the little smoothie cups.
Mm-hmm.
But as I smoked on them, they kind of, I don't know, it's like the aftertaste
Because
was
they're
not
getting burnt
bad.
up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, I
That
don't think they're
wouldn't
burnt up because it
go
is,
ahead.
I don't know, it's more of like a, I don't know. It's hard to explain, mainly because words are hard. And I mean, I can definitely tell when you're reaching the end and they're burning up because they almost have like a, I don't know, it's a really gross taste. And what I should have did, I should have went for my typical mint one and I didn't. I got this instead. So I'll probably imagine at some point, maybe tomorrow, because I like to have a mint one at all times.
Yeah,
And right now I don't.
I just do the same one all the time.
I do like to switch it up.
Yeah.
I get kind of, it's like my hair. I get bored if I have it too long.
I think the results from my haircut show how much I like the change of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I do get, I mean, yeah, you know by now, I get bored of my hair. And it was almost a full year I went without, like, I went lighter and then I did go slightly darker, but still like the silver blonde. And but it just, I don't know, I just did that and then I got bored and then I was like, if I don't do a color, I'm gonna hack it all off, and I didn't want to do that, so I didn't want to hack it off. I'm actually trying to do things with it, so like right now it looks ratty because beach, like, wind blown hair. So
I
probably
showered
looks,
today, so mine's nice and fresh.
it probably, yeah, mine, I mean, I don't know, like mine's kind of,
After our trek through the woods, showers were required. Got to do the tick check. So,
oh, for a second I thought you said tit check. I'm like, who had the hiccups?
close. He had one on his butt. And I thought it was so funny. I didn't notice it till I was drying him off. I was like, wait, hold on, bend over. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
So,
And tomorrow, which is Thursday, so by the time this comes out, 3 days ago, I took my grandkids there. I bought them all Tawas Bay shirts because I always forget to get them souvenirs. This time I remember.
good job.
So yeah, they're the Walmart there, like the Walmarts I'm at, they don't have nothing for like tourists. But I
Oh,
mean,
ours does.
this isn't a tourist town either. Like no
Ours
one
is.
wants.
I don't
I
understand why.
I mean, I do I know there's people that have come here on trips, Jenny, but for specific reasons, not because it's this. Well, you know what? I don't even know if I live there.
That's my reason, and ironically people have asked me, if you could go on vacation anywhere, where would you go? I'm going to Saginaw
Yeah,
because I can see my friends there.
yeah. Um, and I know I actually have to look at the date. I thought it was a different date, and I took time off of work, but it's either September 2nd or September 3rd. Dan, Sherry, Brett, and I are investigating Stimson Hospital.
Jealous. Someone better be FaceTime in this bitch. Just saying. I don't even care about my work. They don't care. Just long as like it's not posted anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So, yeah, I'm excited.
wouldn't that be awesome though? To have me do a remote investigation with you guys?
That would.
That would be super cool.
Yeah. Well, I know Dan usually goes live. when,
Yeah, but I mean, like, actually having me, like, not necessarily in Zoom, but like this,
yeah,
where I can see you guys and hear everything, you know what I mean?
yeah, it'd be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm well, because when we first made these plans, and I think I don't know, I told you about it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Um, it's like you should try and come up because it'd be cool. It's actually probably closer to you than it is me. It's in
Oh, really?
yeah, it's I don't know. I'm making shit up as I go. I don't fucking know.
Probably
Um,
not.
it's Eaton Rapids, so
Eaton Rapids.
that's like over
And
this way.
okay, so more by Dan.
Probably more by Dan.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be closer for like Dan and Sherry to get there than me.
Yeah, it's only
Let me see how far.
7 hours, I think. Somewhere in
How
that
long?
area.
How long?
7 hours to over there in that area. I mean, the trip is supposed to be 8 hours, but we know how it works for me. It actually equals out to be about 10. So yeah, I would put that location at about 7 hours.
Yeah, it's 1 hour and 45 minutes from me.
Yep, that. Yeah, you're about 2 hours from Dan.
So yeah, that'll be coming up. So that'll be exciting to talk about it when it's done and over. And that would be really cool to have Dan and Sherry on. But you know what? With everyone working different, like Dan and Sherry are morning workers, and I am a second shift worker, and you are a second slash third. So it's kind of difficult to get us all. I think the one time when we did it last year, it was a Veterans Day, and it was on a Tuesday.
And I think it was only because everybody had off.
Everybody had that day off. Well, I don't know, maybe Dan and Sherry had to work, but we did it a little later in the evening and it worked perfectly.
We'll have to try and coordinate one of those nights again.
Yeah. Let's see. Because I believe that's also Dan's birthday.
Ah, my husband is September 13th.
No, Veterans
He's a
Day.
Virgo. Yeah, just saying.
My husband's also a Virgo. Was I looking up?
Hmm?
I was looking up something. Oh. Well, Veterans Day this year is on a Saturday.
That's not gonna work. Anyway, we should
Well,
probably,
huh?
I was gonna say, we should probably let our people go.
Yeah, we probably should, because now we're just fucking spouting nonsense.
And this is how our normal conversations go. We get lost halfway through, just like in our podcast.
Yep, we get lost. We derail. 17 sub stories to each story.
No, my favorite, side quests.
Yeah, lots of those.
Yep.
So many of those. And Jenny says she can't hear it, but if you guys hear like a humming thing on my side and you haven't heard me complain that I'm hot, I got a fan in here. Just a small one.
So if anybody hears it, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely let us know. Oh, and should we talk about the one thing that we're gonna do on the other thing only?
Ah, well, maybe at the start of the next one. How about that?
Okay, yeah, because yeah, that works. We'll tell you about a little surprise that's coming your way.
For anybody who is still here,
Yeah,
there's a surprise.
yeah, they all probably said, fuck them bitches. Shut us off 15 minutes ago.
All right. This
So,
time we will let you go.
Yeah, but if you are still here, have a great weekend.
See you next time.
Bye.